Good evening, everyone. I will go ahead and call today's Planning Commission meeting to order. This is Tuesday, June 4th, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. I will go ahead and get started with introductions. I'm Tyler McCloskey, the chair. Hand it over to Annette.
I'm Annette Stewart, Vice Chair.
Stephanie Bailey.
Paul Fontenot, Planning Commissioner.
Jim Fisk, Principal Planner.
Nick Bond, Community Development Director.
Sean Raja, Associate Planner.
And going online to Zoom, Lewis.
Lewis Ta, Planning Commissioner.
All right, moving on to number 3, audience comments. Do we have anybody on Zoom?
We have 2 members of the audience, attendees, Bob and Tyler.
Okay. If either of the Zoom members would like to make a comment, please raise your hand.
I see Tyler has raised his hand. I will go ahead and allow him to talk.
To clarify, are these comments for the materials presented or for the meeting minutes from last time?
No, these are general audience comments.
Oh, I had some questions for the plan. I didn't see like a planned requirement for the countywide growth center, and then I was wondering what the like local instituted requirements were for the local center. I didn't see anything on that.
Well, I can try to answer the question, but this is a public comment period, so this is really about making comments, not question and answer. But there's a regional centers framework document that was adopted by Puget Sound Regional Council. And so if you go to the PSRC website and you type in regional centers framework, there is a 2018 document that adopted the criteria for countywide centers, and then local centers are something less than countywide, which it is up to us to determine what our local centers are. There aren't really criteria other than a very sort of vague description in the PSRC guidance.
Yes, I see that. I didn't see it in the document in the plan, though, I guess was my comment.
Yeah, I think the plan responds to our regional planning policies. It doesn't we don't have to adopt those criteria in our plan. We're simply working within that framework in the creation of our plan.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I will go ahead and mute that.
There are no other audience comments. We'll move on to number 4, approval of the minutes from May 7th.
I have a question on the minutes, and someone forgive me in case I've like lost a month, but I believe last month we elected the chair and the vice chair. Is that correct?
That was the month previous.
That was the month previous. Oh, man. Okay, I did lose a month. I was going to say it was missing from the minutes. There's a reason. Okay, never mind.
Time flies.
It does.
Did everybody get a chance to review the minutes?
Yes,
Were there any additions or corrections?
I saw none.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes from the May 7th meeting.
I'll second. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No abstentions that I saw. Okay. Minutes have been approved. We will move on to the business items, starting with the discussion of the 2024 Comprehensive Plan Periodic Update draft elements.
And I think that's you, Jim.
Good evening, Jim Fisk, Principal Planner for the City of Port Orchard. The Comprehensive Plan Kickoff and Visioning Workshop on January 31st, 2023 initiated our comprehensive plan update process. Following the initial workshop, we shifted our approach to public outreach to an online platform, Social Pinpoint, and participated in local events like the Port Orchard Farmers Market. These efforts significantly boosted public participation as detailed in the September 2023 Public Engagement Summary. At the same time, with these outreach activities, we prepared an existing conditions report. This report provides the baseline data on population growth, household and housing details, economic conditions, and historical population and job growth trends. This document forms the foundation for the 2024 Comprehensive Plan update. We've held 2 public workshops, also supported by Social Pinpoint, which furthered our attempt to capture community input. In February, we hosted a policy workshop to gather feedback on existing policies and followed that with a land use strategy workshop in May. The feedback from these workshops, supplemented by online engagement, was incorporated into the draft elements included in tonight's packet. Since January, the Planning Commission has reviewed 10 draft elements of the comp plan, addressing areas as land use, housing, and climate. Feedback from both the public and the commission was compiled into a comment matrix, which we reviewed to determine necessary changes. This matrix and related comments are part of the Planning Commission packet. If you have additional comments on specific items in the matrix, please feel free to email me directly. Additionally, we have included drafts of the Lund-Bethel and the Bethel-Sedgwick sub-area plans. These will be refined further based on additional feedback from the Planning Commission and the public. After this Planning Commission meeting adjourns, we will host a draft elements workshop here in the City Council chambers. We encourage the Planning Commission to attend and participate. Feedback from this session may be incorporated into the elements before they are presented later this summer. In the coming months, after gathering additional feedback from tonight's workshop and a future public hearing, we'll make further edits to finalize the comprehensive plan. We will then submit a 60-day notice to adopt to the Department of Commerce, and we anticipate that occurring later this summer. This timeline allows for further refinement before we adopt the plan, which must occur prior to the end of the year. No action is required of the commission tonight, but we encourage your participation in the workshop, and we welcome additional written comments on the draft elements by the end of this month. Now I'd like to introduce our consultant, Alex Campbell, who will provide a summary of the actions taken so far in the comp plan process and the feedback we've received.
Doesn't sound like it. Oh.
Yeah, that's on. You just gotta get real close.
Okay, perfect. I hope this isn't too loud for anybody online. Hello, my name is Alex Campbell. I work with AHBL, a consulting firm assisting the city of Port Orchard with the 2024 comprehensive plan update. Good to see everybody again. It's been a little bit since I've been to a planning commission meeting, so it's good to see familiar faces. Jim provided a great outline of the comprehensive plan update process to date so far. And where we're at today is the first full complete draft. That's what you guys have been able to provide us feedback on and commentary on. Sean, could I have you pull up the presentation? So in association with that large volume of work, first of all, I want to say thank you, both the consulting team and city staff appreciate the amount of effort that goes into it. With that being said, it's a large volume of information admittedly, and a lot of feedback that we received to the tune of about 450 review comments that the consulting team and city staff has gone through. And that's what you guys see in the comment matrix that we provided tonight. Really what we wanted to do was provide a summary by element individually of what we heard, the amount of information, and how city staff responded to what we heard in those comments. With that being said, city staff took action in one of three ways for each of the individual comments. We either incorporated the review comment into the element, we tagged it for additional consideration and discussion with the consulting team and planning commission at large, which is a great avenue tonight in the workshop format. Or third, we said it wouldn't be incorporated, and we also tried to provide some details or context of why maybe the comment wasn't fitting the comprehensive plan or was better tailored for another avenue. So really, we tried to reply to each comment individually. With that being said, as I mentioned, Jim gave a great summary of where we're at in the process so far. Currently, we're in tasks 3 and 4 of the overall update process, which is the first and final drafts. First draft, that book is now almost closed. Following this workshop, we'll take feedback for another month, and then we'll take all that kind of final feedback information, incorporate that into our final drafts of the document, and then we're one step closer to adoption by the end of this year. So we are on track schedule-wise with some help from Planning Commission. So again, appreciate the effort. As I mentioned, this is a big milestone in the overall update process. Having a full first draft is really important because now we get to fine tune. We've knocked out what we consider a large amount of the significant items to update. And now it's just kind of tailoring based on feedback and refining the document itself to make sure there's document-wide consistency in terms of formatting, spelling, how we approach acronyms, a lot of minor things just to make a cohesive and usable document as well. As I mentioned, we had about 450 comments, just slightly over. The 3 items individually, most feedback that we saw was transportation, no surprise. I feel like that's the one thing most people really feel from a planning standpoint, that they can commute or how you get to the places that you want to go. So no surprise, we got a lot of feedback on that. Economic development, we have just over 50 comments on that side too. A lot of related to how we further promote the city of Port Orchard and continue to develop not only the downtown area, but make sure that every area of the city has services, whether that's employment or commercial services available to them versus having to go to distinct city centers. How do we make sure the services are available citywide? And then the last one was an introduction section that had a fair amount of comments, just slightly over 50 as well, which makes a lot of sense to me. The introduction is the brief summary of everything and really tries to tie everything together and give upfront context to what the plan holds. With that being said, I think that summarizes a vast majority of kind of what we've done since we brought these documents back to you. And we do want to be cognizant of the workshop starting shortly, where I think both city staff and myself are happy to answer any pending questions that you guys might have from the comment matrix or point you in the direction for additional information following your review of that document. So just wanted to provide a brief summary. Again, say thank you guys for the effort.
Thank you, Alex. That's a lot of work. Any brief comments on this before we move on to the director's report?
Well, I would just add on the comment matrix, I mean, that really was a considerable effort, both on the consultant team and staff to go through all of that. If you individually have any concerns about how we've addressed comments that you've made or comments that you see in the matrix, I would encourage you to reach out to Jim or I directly, and we can certainly talk about those issues more. Or if you feel like something is still unresolved, we're happy to discuss that with you. And if something needs to be discussed with the whole planning commission, we can maybe a one-on-one discussion with us can help identify if something actually needs to be escalated for a larger discussion. But for now, hopefully our responses in the matrix address the concern or at least provide some explanation of why we made the change that we did or did not make the change that we did. And if you have any questions about it, let us know.
Perfect. Thanks, Nick. I really like the matrix.
I'd like to say a couple things. First of all, I think it's really, really important that we've done so much work to reach out to the public and have them involved in the process. And I think that's something that maybe in the past a lot of cities have missed. So I'm appreciative that we spent so much time really reaching out to the public, really getting these comments in and just making them a part of the process. I think that's very important. In terms of how the comments have sort of been spread out, between like housing and land use and transportation and elements like that. I believe I mentioned this before in previous meetings, but I just like to reiterate that a lot of these things can be looked at in a holistic view, as one thing sort of affects the other. Where we place housing also always affects where transportation is going to go and where it doesn't go. I also saw that there were, I believe, if my memory serves, around 27 comments in the neighborhood about the climate, about climate policy. And I see that that definitely sort of branches out into every single different category of comments, whether it be housing or land use or transportation. That all sort of folds into one. So it's important that we're not looking at this as one separate thing of just having to look at this or just having to look at that, or only focusing on transportation, seeing as how that's where we got the most comments. We can affect transportation or housing or other elements by sort of looking at the situation as a whole. So.
Thank you. All right, moving on to 5B, the director's report. Nick?
My main item for discussion, I'm not sure. I know that Paul attended in person for Jurassic Parliament, which was a joint planning commission council training opportunity. I just wanted to remind everyone that that training is recorded. And so if you haven't had a chance to go watch that, it's always good to brush up on parliamentary procedure. And I would encourage you to take a look at the what meeting was that? Was that work study? Yeah, May 16th was the meeting date. And if you go on our website, you can find the video recording from that meeting and sit through that training. Oh, yeah, I suppose I can announce that we have another new member joining our team, Connor Dahlquist, who was our intern last summer. He graduated. He's currently, last time I heard, he was wandering around Spain in a little break before he starts his career, but he's going to be joining our office in about 3 weeks. So he'll be back later this summer.
Well, good.
Very cool. All right, if that is it, we can go ahead and adjourn, and then we can do the workshop.
Wait, one question from Zoom. Does the planning commission have any action items between now and the next meeting?
I don't believe we will. I think the next meeting we'll have scheduled to be beginning of August.
Okay, thank you.
And I don't recall if we touched on this already, but with the city hall remodel getting underway, they're going to be ripping up the carpet and repainting the council chambers. And so this is expected to be offline for about 6 weeks, where we're trying to avoid meeting in here if we don't have to. So July is certainly canceled for a meeting. We're aiming for our normal August meeting, but if for some reason, because of construction, we have to change our August meeting date, we will let you know. But just be on the lookout for an email about our next meeting date in case it isn't our regularly scheduled August meeting.
So July is canceled?
Yes, July is canceled.
Okay. And what was the decision made on the special meeting for the week of June 7th?
No special meeting.
No, nothing. Okay. So after tonight, we don't meet again till August. All right, just want to make sure.
Anything else for the good of the order?
Yeah, just one more thing concerning what Director Bond said about the parliamentary training. I do recommend that everybody sort of at least brush over the video, the recording of it. I actually found it pretty useful, and a lot of the way of like the procedure of how we do things. So I think it's worth taking a look at.
Thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting and see you all in August.